Something I have observed of myself growing up and the people around me that just want to achieve big things is that there's always this underlying wonder of, am I really going places? Are the inputs of my everyday actually going to lead to the outcomes that I'm looking for? And I swear it feels like you're walking up to the lottery ticket booth every single day, sitting there and picking your numbers meticulously and just hoping that something comes of it. This is truly the arc of achieving something great. This wonder, and it's an existential wonder. You feel the rewardless effort that you put in every single day. And you can't help but think, what if it doesn't work out? Now, realistically speaking, these people that I observe this characteristic in are probably the last people that should be questioning whether or not they're going to do big things. Because these are the people that really do the inputs that lead to big things, kind of undeniably. If you're waking up every day and you're working on something that you're passionate about and you're treating yourself like gold and you're having these conversations in your mind that you don't hear people around you really talking about, and you feel like maybe you're a little bit different. You feel like every day you're just trying to make life awesome, regardless of whether you feel it or not. That's the undeniable input for some pretty amazing outcome rather. I think to have the peace matched with the inputs is kind of the best formula, but it's usually the people that don't deserve the peace of mind that kind of sit back and relax and just let things go, because they're not really putting the work in, and they might have another thing coming to them much later. But when you're the person that is doing all the right things, if you could find a place in your mind that gave you some peace and understanding that that's the case and made it feel a little bit less like you're playing the lottery, because I want to say life isn't as much of a lottery as we make it out to be, then I think life will be a little bit better. So I want to talk about the 5 signs that you can know you are on the right path, that you are going places, that you are going to do big things. And by the end of listening to this, my hope is that if you're one of these people, really putting in the work, really challenging yourself, really pushing yourself to think in different and new ways, that you can walk away going, I'm not going to be so afraid of things maybe not working out. Not be so afraid of maybe I'm not going places. Because that's a ridiculous way to think when you act like the person that is. So these 5 signs, starting at number 1, you definitely want to hang out until number 5, because each of these is a very, very important sector of the mind and how you think and talk to yourself and interact with the world around you. And we're going to talk through it. So this first sign, this is a pretty good one. I really love this concept. If you love responsibility, you are going places. If you're asking for an amazing life, if you're asking to achieve great things, go amazing places, talk to incredible people, the question that you're asking the world is this: can I have more responsibility, please? That's exactly what you are asking for. And if you can learn to love and appreciate responsibility, there is no denying that you're going places. I always use this example and analogy. Bear with me if you've heard me say it a bunch of times, but the strongest person ever, everybody wants to be the strongest person ever, or the fastest person ever, or the richest person ever, or the smartest person ever. But do you realize that each of these hierarchical achievements of the best ever come along with the most responsibility? So the strongest person ever literally has to bear the most weight. That's the hardest job of them all. the fastest person ever has to run the farthest, the fastest, better than anybody else. Dude, that's a lot of responsibility. Do you realize how many people are trying to be great? And you want to be the best ever? You're asking for responsibility. Now, I'm kind of painting this as an intimidating thing. If you love that feeling, if you want to bear that weight, if you want to feel the responsibility of the world on your shoulders, well, first I would say that's a pretty freaking awesome trait, to have enough confidence to say, you know what, if anybody can, I can. I absolutely love that thinking. You've got some things that are pretty amazing coming your way, because you can handle it. If you love that responsibility, that's one of the biggest things that you're going to have to carry in pursuit of amazing things. If you love it, well, then you love the process. And realistically speaking, the process is the thing. Your life is just a project. Your life is constantly moving forward. You're never going to achieve anything that satisfies unless you set the biggest goal ever, and as soon as you achieve it, you die. That would be the only way that a big goal would kind of remedy the feeling of, oh, I want to figure out life. Otherwise, you have to get used to the fact that life is a process and a project. When you can love that, when you can love the responsibility, life doesn't feel like shit. So when you think about people who hate responsibility, those are the people that are easiest to control. I want to just go through my life and not really have to bear that weight. I don't want to make decisions for myself. I don't want to think for myself. And big evil corporations are going, ding, 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 that is the target customer. Because, oh my God, I can get them to do anything I want. I can get them to believe anything that I want. That low responsibility or lack of desire for responsibility is going to lead you in some shitty places. And so to appreciate, man, I got a lot to deal with. I got a lot on my plate. I got a lot of people that count on me. There's stress to that, but I think that's a better stress than going, all right, well, my life is just going to go with the wind. And when your life goes with the wind is not very friendly anymore. I don't know, maybe years and years and years ago, when life was a little bit simpler, the wind would take you in a decent direction. Decent job, decent family life, decent relationships. Cool, good to go. Now, if you go with the wind, you're going to spend your entire life scrolling on your phone. You're never going to look up at the sky and go, hey, what the hell is going on here? You're never going to think for yourself. You're going to just buy shit that people tell you to buy. You're not going to think about what you're putting in and on your body. You're not going to think about who you're really hanging out with, and your mind is just going to be given to anything and everything other than yourself. And this lack of ownership, lack of responsibility, I can't campaign for that one. So if you're going through life saying, I just want someone else to take care of it, I would be very careful. Second thing, the second sign that you are absolutely going places is that you have a healthy relationship with yourself. Oh my gosh, high-performing people, high-octane people, folks that love to be charitable and help others and be powerful. There's a typical fault of having a poor relationship with the self, because the self gets abandoned in the face of helping other people. The self cup is empty to try and fill the cup of other people, and eventually that turns into resentment and obligation instead of abundance and conviction. If you don't have a good relationship with you, that's a hard problem. And it's going to keep you from going places, because you know who you're stuck with forever? You are the sun, you are the rain. You guys know that song? Lionel Richie, so good. You are stuck with you. Oh my God, but I suck. Well, you have to repair that relationship. Think about a toxic relationship with somebody else. If you were stuck in that shit and there was absolutely no way out, I'll tell you what, that is not a good feeling. If you have a toxic relationship with yourself and there's actually no way out, you're never going to run away from yourself. I promise you that. There is some work to do there, and it's not impossible. I think people think that if they don't respect themselves and they hate themselves, they're just stuck that way forever and they were born that way. The reality of it is this is data driven. If you treat yourself like someone you respect, you'll respect yourself. If you treat yourself like someone you just shit on, you're going to be shitting on yourself. And I mean, it's simple. It's just difficult. It's difficult to build a really good pile of data that says, you know what, I treat myself like gold. But again, if you're going places, then you love responsibility, then gosh, how would that not stand out as one of the most important things that you could do is remedy the self relationship, go through the difficulty of building better data so that you can see yourself as someone that you love, like, and respect instead of someone that's in your way and you want to distract from. Think about what most people are doing today. They're on their phone, they're listening to a podcast or music, they're watching TV, they're going out, they're drinking, they're smoking, they're around people that simply distract them from themselves. If you're trying to run away from yourself, stop. Let yourself catch up. Let yourself indulge in that quiet moment. Feel the fear even, if you feel fear just being with only yourself. And you gotta exist, because when you can exist in that environment of you and you for long enough, well, it's gonna provide less of a threat to you. But this is the difficulty, this is the responsibility, and this is the need to repair the relationship with yourself, because when you and you are on the best team ever, when you're in partnership with yourself, oh my gosh, some amazing things can happen. Think about if you were partnered up with the coolest person you could imagine. I bet you think you could do some pretty amazing things. What if that person was you? You and you relationship is not going to feel necessarily like another person. Don't get me wrong. But again, there's this kind of voice in your head that is you, but feels like you're in conversation with it. When that voice is awesome, when it's a powerful dynamic, the dynamic duo, man, amazing things happen. The relationship with you is so freaking important. So practically speaking, within that, to sit with yourself, I mean, that is genuinely a thing to practice. The more you practice it, the less scary it's going to be. Now, another way to build this data that I'm talking about is to keep promises to yourself. And these promises don't have to be ridiculous. Personally, I've run every single day for 2,801 days in a row. I completely forgot that yesterday was another 100 benchmark, so 2,800 days flat. And it's just another day, to be honest with you. But I've been keeping this promise of running every day to myself for almost 8 years. I actually don't know how many years that is. It's over 7.5. But almost 8 years. I ice bath before I run every single day as a promise to myself to face something difficult. And it's terrible every time. I hate it. But on the other side of those things, I recognize, wow, I really showed up for myself there. I accomplished this thing. I met the expectation. And man, I respect the hell out of myself for this. When you can keep a simple promise for 100 days or 500 days or 10 years, that is literally the data that I'm talking about. Because you can look back and say, I showed up for myself every single day. Hey, I kind of appreciate myself for that. I respect myself. I like myself. This is how you build it. It's not this far away, abstract sort of thing. You can build better data. Again, it's just the work of it. So far we have love's responsibility. I think this is so fundamental. We have a healthy relationship between you and you. The third thing here is extreme observation and self-awareness. When you're going places, you got to know where you're going. You got to know who you are. You got to know how to navigate the environment that you live within. Talking to people, your literal physical space, how you interact with a to-do list, or how you interact with your physical health. Extreme observation is being super tuned in to your environment, to everything that's kind of in the ecosystem of you trying to achieve things. And the self-awareness is knowing you well enough. So within this healthy relationship with the self, fundamentally speaking, you need self-awareness. You need to know how to observe your own voice, not just your physical outward voice, but the voice inside your head. You need to know how to question yourself. Again, spending that time practicing the you and nobody else, nothing else environment really helps to kind of give you the chops of the self-awareness. But looking around and picking up on nuances of the world around you. I cannot stress enough how much of a library of knowledge that is. If you're at a restaurant, the amount of data points that you can gather from just being in a public place is ridiculous. You can watch how people walk, for example. And you say, oh, and that person walks kind of timid. Well, I wonder what their life looks like. Maybe they just walk different from how they are. Or maybe this is representative of how they are and how they interact with people and maybe how they believe in themselves. That's just looking at the way that someone walks. You know what I mean? Listen to the sounds of where you are. I'm in an empty room right now, but I recognize that I'm kind of a extreme minimalist. So I don't have anything but that poster on the wall. The floors are bare hardwood floors. And I can see that if I wasn't talking into this microphone and was just using the camera audio, you would hear echo because the walls are bouncing sound off. Sure, it sounds completely quiet if I don't say anything. Or does it? Because the air conditioning noise is on. And even in pure silence, there's almost still the noise of pure silence. How do our freaking ears work? Who created the human body? Is God real? Do you see what I'm saying? When you can just pick up on little things, it takes your mind on this journey of just thinking and exploring ideas. And that's ridiculously powerful because when you're going places, when you're doing big things, achieving a lot, you need to be creative. You need to be able to bring something new to the table. And if you're just regurgitating the same bullshit that you've heard everybody else say, and you're just doing the same bullshit that you've seen everyone else do, you're not bringing something new to the world. And I'm not saying you have to invent something, but you have to know yourself well enough. You have to observe the space and environment around you enough to be a true, authentic, unique individual that is going places, that is bringing creativity and value into the world around you. And value, it seems like such a transactional thing. Oh, you got to earn being a valuable person. And people would say, that's so toxic. You don't have to do anything to be valuable. Yeah, you do. You absolutely have to earn being valuable. Go back to as far back in human history as you could when we're living in tribes. If you're not doing something, if you don't have a role in a tribe, you're dying. It might kill your ass because you're not doing anything and you're just an op to the tribe. You have to provide something. And this doesn't mean just money in the modern day context. It doesn't mean just having supplies and resources and things. Maybe you're a great leader. Maybe you're good at holding space for people's emotions, whatever this looks like. You figure out what you're good at and what you know and what you think through extreme observation, extreme awareness of yourself and the space that you live in. That turns you into a superhero in the context of today because it seems like nobody pays attention even. So you can kind of get a pretty good leg up. Now, referential thinking. This is a huge, huge pillar of my personal brain. If you ask anybody that I spend a lot of time around, they'll say, yeah, everything you say, every sound you hear, crew's gonna come up with some shit or sing the rest of a song that the line you said started or bring up a reference from Vine 15 years ago, whatever the hell it was. No, there's no way that was 15 years ago. You know what I mean? The references is kind of my way of taking in information. It gets stored in my brain, especially sounds. So the sound of people's voices, accents, songs, little just jingles, phone ringtones and shit like that. It really, really sticks with me. And I think what's cool is that this gives me a library of ways to not create with people, relate to people, maybe create with people. It gives me a way to relate to people because it feels like I always have something to tie in. Even if someone's talking about some shit that I have no idea about, I can pull from this library in my brain and go, oh, well, have you heard of this? Or, oh my gosh, the intro to that song is the exact same as the intro to this one. Have you guys heard, well, Death of a Bachelor is Panic at the Disco, and that's got to be, what time range would that be from? I wonder if I can play this for a second or two. So, Death of a Bachelor. See, this is literally how my brain works. I did this the other day because I heard a song at the gym. Death of a Bachelor. So, listen to the intro to Death of a Bachelor by Panic at the Disco. Right? That weird little whatever the heck. And then I'm at the gym, and they got this Kanye song playing, or it's Jadakiss, I don't even know who that is, featuring Kanye West, and listen to the start of this one, or maybe it's not the start, but yeah. Are you kidding me? That's the same exact thing. And so if someone played that song, or either one of those, now because I super intentionally listen to the environment around me, I go, oh, did you know that that intro is the exact same on Death of a Bachelor by Panic at the Disco, which is a freaking punk song? And Getting It In by Jadakiss featuring Kanye West. And I'd imagine the timelines of those are ridiculously different. The Kanye one must have come first. I don't actually know. I should have looked, but it's going to take too damn long. And there's a whole conversation. There's a whole mental exploration of how music is created and sampled, and what are the laws behind that? Is someone just copying the other? Is that fine to do? That's literally just from picking up on sounds. That is a huge way to connect with other people and bring something new to the table. Half my freaking podcast, what I'm doing right now, is literally just based on that. So to pick up on this library of knowledge through extreme observation is crazy powerful. Now, the self-awareness aspect, I feel like a really good part of this is just knowing how you show up in different spaces and places and conversations. So when you can pay attention to yourself enough, maybe I do come off a little bit extreme, or too high energy, or too low energy, or maybe I need to, I don't know, change some things about the way that I speak so that people are more likely to listen. And these are things that are really cool because it's just kind of updating yourself in a way. And it's not this prescription of, oh, you need to change to fit in with other people. No, it's that there is an outward expression of who you are, and there's always room to work on that. So I think when you get better at this, it helps you truly shape your reality. So you can shape how people interact with you. You can shape the opportunities that get presented to you. And this isn't just a pure A to B direct control of the world around you, but it kind of is, because you show up in different ways. That is going to give you a different outcome. And so just refining the way that you do that is super important. The fourth sign that you are going places, that you are physically adaptable and not controlled by food. Food is a really specific one just because you have to eat, but you don't have to eat some things. And I think a big, I don't even know, just a big source of control or lack thereof is food for a lot of people. Because 90% of the shit on the shelves is just ultra addictive, ultra processed, ultra probably not that great for you, is what I would say. And physically adaptable, this part is just knowing how to physically interact with the world around you. If you can't lift some shit up, if you can't run, if you can't walk 5 miles, there's a deficit there. And it's something to work on. Beautiful thing is, you've got plenty of time to work on it. You've got every single day of your life to work on it. This physical adaptability, fitness-wise, it's a baseline. If you're not generally prepared, we got some work to do. Come on. You gotta walk, you gotta jog, you gotta lift some weights, get on the rower, get on the ski erg, do some freaking deadlifts, do some squats, prepare your body. And if you're listening to that and going, ooh, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to put myself in harm's way of the gym. It doesn't have to be the gym necessarily. You could do some calisthenics or just go on some runs, whatever. I'm pretty far down the rabbit hole, so sometimes I have to pull back my fitness expectations in a general sense in podcast context. But you got to move. This is so human. And if you try and get around that one, you say, I don't want to be in that harm's way of the physical movement, you're actually asking to be more fragile. You're asking to be more vulnerable by not putting yourself in that physical stress. Because when you face physical stress, you just become more used to physical stress, and then it's less threatening. Sprinting, huge pillar of my fitness right now. When people say they don't want to sprint because they don't want to get hurt, it absolutely makes sense, because if you haven't sprinted and then you run as hard as you can, you're probably going to pull some shit. However, what if you progressively built up a capability in sprinting and then you had to go sprint? Okay, well then your body's used to it, so now sprinting is less threatening to your body because it's practiced that movement and you're physically adaptable. That's so important. And in this general sense of going places and achieving great things, I see a lot of people try and do that without being fit, without having a healthy body, and they just neglect this human responsibility to move. And it's not to talk shit, but it's more just to point out, again, this fundamental truth. I can see right through it. I'm going, there's something missing there. You can make all the money in the world, but if you don't have your body, you don't have shit. And that's just the harsh truth. But it's not that harsh, because when you work out, you're going to feel great. It's not like it's going to ruin your life. So food-wise, food should be fuel, not distraction. People use food as distraction. Same thing I spoke about earlier, to run away from the self. When you're building this incredible relationship with yourself, you're fueling your body with the right things as well. So you're making meals for yourself, which is kind of a, here, future self, I'm going to do some work for you. And then you shake your hand and you say, thank you so much. Because now I don't have to cook. When it's later in the day and you already had your meal prepped, that's a great exchange of some self-respect, some good data. And then physically speaking, just eating healthy foods, cutting out the bullshit. People have a lot of health problems these days. And they'll say, I got this, and my sleep sucks, and go down the list of all of the problems. And my response to that is always, I'm not a doctor. Even if I was, I probably wouldn't have a solution for you. I would just have some tips and tricks. Now, I'd probably slam some medication in your face and try and make some more bread off you, but not a doctor. So I say, look, this isn't going to be a solution, but if you cut out highly processed foods and you just eat the same thing for a while, just some high quality meat, some fruit, maybe some vegetables if that's your thing, throw some rice in there if you want to bulk up a little bit. I just do beef and rice every day. Get some fruit juice, get some damn kiwis and grapes. I mean, do you really need some candy when you've had a grape? Have you ever had a grape? Because grapes are freaking awesome. And especially having not eaten junk food and really any of that highly processed stuff for 8 or 9 years like myself, and I mean that, it is so enjoyable to just have fruit or some homemade salsa. Just the same beef and rice that I've eaten about 4 billion times in a row. It's awesome every single time. When you can do that for yourself, it is such a respect builder, builds amazing data, and that list of health problems that everybody likes to brag about, it's not going to fix, but it's going to give you better odds of those things not bothering you, because you'll have less guesswork in the way that you physically treat your body. If you exercise, you eat right, you go to bed at the same time every night, wake up at the same time every single day, you don't flood your body with alcohol and you're vaping and doing all this bullshit, well, then you have maybe 10 elements of your life to sift through and see if there's anything that needs to be changed when you feel sick or you got headaches or you're sleeping like shit, versus eating a bunch of highly processed crap and taking Advil every time something hurts and drinking alcohol every time your brain hurts and you're sad and throwing all of this crap into your life. When one thing goes wrong, you say, okay, well, I got to search through about 400,000 different compounds that are going into my body. And I sleep like shit. Is it my sleep? And I eat like shit. Oh, is it the food that I'm eating? I don't exercise. Is it the fact that I don't freaking exercise? And that's definitely going to create problems, absolutely, no matter what, no matter who you are. That's a shitty thing to try and investigate. So when you can lower that guesswork, just simplify the absolute shit out of your life, especially in this nutrition space, then you have a much, much better picture of who you are. You have a much easier time maintaining your physical and emotional health. And what better vehicle to be going places and achieving great things than to have your physical and mental health in check? Simple as that. Kinda. Now, the last thing here. This is very powerful. This is what I'm doing right now. This is going to open doors. This is going to allow you to communicate the person that you are. And I just said it, communication. Skillful communication. A lot of people feel really shitty about telling people who they are and how they are and stories about themselves. But when you know how to do that well, it doesn't feel evil. I don't feel like I'm being obnoxious when I tell somebody something that I'm excited about, because I know how to speak in a way that includes their perception of what I'm saying. So I keep other people in mind. I also know how to bring excitement out of what I'm thinking. I know how to bring kind of a story. Well, maybe I'm not the best storyteller, but I know how to bring insight into my mind into words. And that's a really powerful thing, because people love honesty and people love to know who you are. So if you're able to communicate those things outwardly, I mean, it's such a win. Because for you to get opportunities need to know you. For you to build awesome relationships, people need to know you. If you want to build a following on social media, people need to know you. Well, maybe not that one. If you've listened to enough of these episodes, you could probably guess what I would say in the social media realm. You can cheat your way there. Maybe they just need to know a photo of your ass if you want to build a following. There, I said it. But if you're an awesome person that you want to actually impact people, probably won't be the ass photos. It's probably going to be people knowing who you are and what you think. So if you can communicate that very clearly, very well, you're going places, and there's no denying it. Now, I am working on more concise communication. Just to give you a little bit of insight here, I am such a long-form oriented person. My brain is oriented towards what I'm doing right now, because I've got a handful of notes written down of the 5 signs, a couple things beneath it, and I just glance over and go, explaining yourself isn't evil when you know how. Boom. And it opens up just this can of worms in my brain, and I can talk about it because this is conversational. When it comes to making an Instagram video, I'm going, geez, how the hell am I supposed to condense this down to something that somebody would give a shit about? Meanwhile, the thought process actually fits this. A 30-minute podcast, 35-minute podcast so far. This thought process that I'm trying to boil down into an Instagram video pretty often, it actually sounds like this whole episode that you've listened to in my brain. So to try and condense that down, it feels like I'm just shortchanging the idea so bad. And it's something I'm trying to get over a little bit more, because people scrolling on Instagram, they don't want nuance anyways. They just want the thing. And there's a way to compel people through storytelling and unexpected change that doesn't lead to just a 1-second resolution, kind of a cheap answer, but an unexpected change that actually gives you something and takes you on a journey, whether that's a true story, whether that's just information or some advice to make your life better. So to be more clear and concise, I think is super powerful, and to be able to just boil it down to something quick, it's very difficult for me, but that also is powerful. The whole idea of the elevator pitch. Someone asks, "Oh, what are you up to?" "Oh, I do this, this, and this, and here's why." Boom. It's good to be able to package things that way. So that's something that I'm personally working on alongside storytelling. I'm actually reading a book right now called The Science of Storytelling, and it's super interesting. This whole idea of the unexpected change is something that I've kind of gotten out of that so far, but really good book. I'm also enjoying reading a lot more lately. So this would be a big part of just taking in more information, not just for the hell of it, but being pretty specific about the information that you choose to take in. And then, again, storing that in that same place in your mind that I was talking about earlier, where it becomes a reference. It becomes new perspectives of how you can see the world, how you can help people, how you can have conversations. I think it's very powerful. So the 5 signs you are going places, a quick recap: that you love responsibility, that you have a healthy relationship with yourself, you have extreme observation and self-awareness very present in your life, you are physically adaptable and not controlled by food, and you are able to skillfully communicate who you are. If you own and hone, I think hone's the right word, these 5 things in your life, there is no doubt that you are going places. And I'm going there with you. So buckle up. If you enjoyed this episode, which I really freaking hope you did, let me know. You can comment if you're watching on YouTube, and if you're listening on Spotify. I absolutely love to hear from you guys. It means the world when I get to see so many awesome messages of people saying, "Look, this actually helped me a lot." That's exactly why I do this, and it brings a happy tear to my eye. If you're watching on YouTube, also make sure to subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode or video or whatever the hell you want to call it. If you're listening on Spotify, leave a 5-star rating on the show. I would appreciate it. Lets other people know that, hey, maybe this guy's got something going on before they listen. And what else is there? Yeah, I guess leave a like, whatever all that shit's about. Now, if you would like to read my newsletter that I send out twice a week and deep dive similar topics, obviously in a different format, you can subscribe to that in the link or at the link in the show notes or description of this episode. Totally free. Just me writing, trying to make the world better. Again, in a different format. If you like to screenshot stuff or highlight quotes and whatnot, that might be a good platform for you to subscribe to. Now, if anything that I have spoken about in this episode is something that you are really trying to capture and work on and build in your life, and you need extra guidance, please know that I personally work with people one-on-one to help them build unbreakable discipline and confidence. Discipline and confidence is exactly what you need in terms of your character to achieve amazing things, along with the 5 signs that you are going places. So if you would like to work very intentionally with myself to build these characteristics, you can, what I was about to say, subscribe. You can book a call with me, a discovery call, at the link in the show notes or description. We will chat. I will explain to you exactly how we can get you exactly where you want to be based on your priorities. That's a very important thing. Now, last thing, no phone dinner. When you eat dinner tonight, like I mentioned before, in the healthy relationship with yourself, practice taking your phone away, the music, the laptop, the TV, take away all the distractions. Be with yourself and nothing else. Unless you got your family or friends there. Those are great options too. But being with yourself is an awesome one. You can appreciate the present moment. You can take in the sounds around you. Extreme observation, extreme self-awareness. Work that muscle, and it will definitely change your life. So, hey, I hope you have an amazing day. I hope you learned a lot. I can't wait to see you the next time. I love you. Be good out there. Bye-bye.